All right, let's talk about a wild journey. Today, we're going to trace a line from 40 years of old school boots on the ground hotel management all the way to a future where you could own a piece of a global hotel empire right from your phone. So, how in the world do we get from there to here? Let's find out. So, what happens when someone with 4 decades of real world experience, someone who's seen it all in the hotel business, starts talking about the future? We're diving into the unique perspective of Daniel Vosotas. He's a guy who mastered the old world, and now he's got some incredible predictions about what's coming next. And look, this isn't just some theory from a textbook. We're talking about wisdom earned on the front lines. When you've managed big brands like Marriott and Hilton across more than 65 properties, you learn things you just can't find anywhere else. That experience is the bedrock for everything we're about to unpack. Just let that number sink in. 65 properties. That's an unbelievable amount of firsthand knowledge about what actually works in hospitality, from guest services right down to the bottom line. So let's start at the very beginning, because, before you can build the future, you have to understand the foundation. Through his companies like Trans-In's Management, Vos has built a career on one simple, powerful idea: operational excellence. So, what are those big lessons? Well, it turns out that the strategies that work in a big full-service hotel are still incredibly relevant today. It doesn't matter if you're running an Airbnb or even thinking about digital assets. These principles are timeless. Okay, so one of his core strategies is just brilliantly simple: cross-training. Think about it. When the front desk gets slammed, what if that team could help housekeeping? And when housekeeping is in a crunch, what if they could help out at the front desk? The whole operation just becomes fluid. The goal here is to get rid of those frustrating bottlenecks that every single guest absolutely hates. And this wasn't just some nice idea, it worked. It had a real measurable impact. At one of his hotels, this simple change cut guest wait times by 15%. I mean, that's a huge win for customer satisfaction. And it was done by working smarter, not just throwing more money at the problem. And here's another key lesson: embrace the tech that actually gives you a return. Take contactless check-in, for example. It's a pretty small investment, but it completely transformed a clunky 5-minute process into something that takes less than a minute. That's a massive upgrade to a guest's first impression. Now, let's take all that hotel wisdom and apply it to today's travel economy, because it's directly relevant to the short-term rental market, STRs, which has just exploded. If you're an STR host, you're going to want to listen up. These are the classic mistakes that can absolutely sink your rental business before it even gets off the ground. Things like not doing your homework on the market, treating it like a casual side gig, and of course, ignoring those critical local laws and regulations. And really, the main takeaway here is crystal clear. The days of treating your short-term rental like a casual side hustle, they are over. This market has grown up. It's become institutional. If you want to succeed today, you have to operate with the same level of professionalism and strategy as a major hotel brand. Period. Okay, so now we're going to pivot to the future. With that solid foundation of operational excellence in mind, we can start to explore the next big frontier: digital real estate, and what it means for the very idea of what it is to own something. Seriously, just stop and think about this for a second. What if that exclusive, high-cost world of commercial real estate was suddenly open to pretty much anyone, anywhere in the world? That is the incredible promise of the technology we're about to break down. The key here is a technology called tokenization. And in simple terms, it's kind of like taking a whole hotel and digitally slicing it up into thousands of tiny, tiny little shares. Each one of those shares is a token that lives on a blockchain. This lets people own and trade an asset in small, affordable pieces. The difference between the old way and the new way is just stark. Traditional ownership is exclusive, it's slow, it's clunky. Tokenization blows the doors open to fractional ownership, a global pool of investors, and way faster transactions. It's a fundamental change in what ownership even means. So where is this all headed? Let's paint a picture of what real estate investing could actually look like by the year 2030. The speed of this change is just staggering. I mean, a few years ago, this was all just a wild theory. By 2025, the actual infrastructure is getting built out, and the big institutions are finally getting on board. The prediction? By 2030, digital ownership won't be some niche thing. It'll be a mainstream way to invest in real estate. And there are 3 huge forces pushing this forward. First, you've got this global demand for better access and liquidity. Second, you have smarter tech like contracts that can automatically distribute profits. And third, and this is the real game changer, the major financial institutions are finally jumping into the game. So, we've gone all the way from hotel check-in desks to the tokenization of global real estate. But the common thread through it all is this relentless drive towards systems that are more efficient, more transparent, and more accessible to everyone. The very definition of ownership is changing right before our eyes. So the only real question left is, how are you going to be a part of it?